All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD, and I want to thank you all for taking the time out to listen to us. And as always, we welcome any feedback, comments, suggestions, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Now, I do want to apologize for posting this particular broadcast, for recording and posting it so after the fact, because through traveling and laptop issues and charger issues and other issues that came with it, I was not able to record a broadcast right after the game, because if you notice, I do take pride in that, and as soon as the game ends, recording and posting our review on the Dallas Cowboys. So we definitely do apologize for that. And it just seems that we're getting new people listening to our program. So again, we definitely thank you all for taking the time out to listen to us, and definitely hope everybody had a blessed, healthy, happy, and ate a whole lot of food for Thanksgiving, as did I. So I need to hit the gym and run some of this stuff off. Dallas Cowboys, Week 12, Thanksgiving Day, home loss against the Buffalo Bills. 26-15. Let's get into our statistics. Quarterback Dak Prescott, 32 of 49 for 355 pass yards, two touchdowns, one interception, and one fumble. Now, if you listen to the 355 yards, 32 of 49 pass attempts, you'll think, wow, sounds like a pretty good game. Sounds like Dak played pretty well. Sounds like he had great command of the game. Sounds like he took the game over, and through a play here and there is why the Cowboys lost. No, if you actually watch that game, it was another poor performance by Dak Prescott, again faced against a good defense. Those 355 yards came in garbage time, empty stats, empty calories, stat patterns, whatever you want to call them. So in watching the game, I was shocked in watching the game, and then when I saw the stats that was compiled after the game that he threw for 355 yards, that was actually surprising, because I didn't see 355 yards passing on the field. Running back Ezekiel Elliott, 12 carries, 71 yards, and 7 catches and 66 yards. Now, 12 catches, 71 yards. 12 carries for 71 yards. Again, I don't know why they're getting away from the running game. Zeke does have that burst. I'm still trying to understand that. I don't know what the offensive coordinator is calling out there, but want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I don't even know why I even just said that. Number one wide receiver, Amari Cooper, in a bounce-back game with 8 catches for 85 yards. And tight end, future Hall of Famer tight end, Jason Witten, 6 catches, 42 yards, and the Cowboys touchdown in the first quarter. On defense, linebacker Jalen Smith, 14 total tackles, 6 solo. Linebacker Sean Lee, 12 total tackles, 9 solo. Defensive tackle Christian Covington, 4 total tackles, 2 solo tackles, 1 sack, and 2 tackles for a loss. DeMarcus Tank Lawrence, 3 total tackles, 2 solo tackles, a half a sack, and 1.5 tackles for a loss. Jordan Lewis, 6 total tackles, 4 solo tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 tackles for a loss. And Brett Maher, by the way, missed 2 field goals. So again, special teams, I'm not going to say special teams necessarily cost them the game. Obviously, that had lots of, I would say you can talk about some momentum swings here and there about some of the missed field goals, but I really don't put this game on Brett Maher, because again, it wasn't a game-winning field goal that he missed. But clearly, you don't want to leave points off the board like that. But 2 missed field goals, so you can make a case that in consecutive weeks, the special teams has let the Dallas Cowboys down. So I have a funny feeling a special teams coach might not have a job at the end of the season. Just kind of throwing it out there. I hope he doesn't lose his job, but when Jerry made his comments after that New England game to have a blocked punt, to have poor fielding on kickoffs and not making the adjustments, and then you come back the following week and miss 2 field goals. Now, I don't see how the 2 missed field goals are on the special teams coach, but obviously in the NFL and the coaching, somebody has to take the rap for it, so I could see a coaching change at least at the special teams position. The Cowboys defense gave up 356 total yards, and wide receiver Cole Beasley making his comeback to Dallas, leaving via free agency, had 6 catches for 110 yards and 1 touchdown. And the reason why I brought up Jordan Lewis, if you look at his statistics, his stats look outstanding. If anything, he was taken to the woodshed by Cole Beasley. I mean, they had Cole Beasley looking like they were playing Randy Moss in 1998 or Jerry Rice in the late 80s and the early 90s. That's the vibe I got. They couldn't stop this guy, and he literally ate Jordan Lewis's lunch. Now, one can make an argument that maybe that was used to being, practicing against Jordan Lewis and knowing his strengths and weaknesses. But you would think that you should be able to cover this slot wide receiver, and he was running circles all over Jordan Lewis. Now, that's a problem. Defensively, and I've been saying this even during the beginning of the season, defensively, I haven't really been happy with the effort. It has not been a consistent effort. Have you noticed I'd even call Robert Quinn's name out? It really hasn't been a consistent effort on the defensive side. They have flashes here and there, but there's something that's missing from last year's defense. And I thought last year's defense, if you take away maybe the Indianapolis Colts game and the playoff game against the Rams, I thought the defense actually was their strength last season. And I just don't feel it's the same defense. I really don't feel that. I really just don't feel that. And keep in mind, you paid Jalen Smith a lot of money. You paid DeMarcus Lawrence a lot of money. I don't see a lot of turnovers that they're forcing. I'm interested in knowing where they rank in terms of turnovers. I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with not getting off the field in third down. And the late, great Buddy Ryan, the former defensive coordinator of the 1985 Chicago Bears and former coach of the Eagles as well as the Arizona Cardinals, once said, the mark of a great defense are 3 things: third down efficiency, turnovers, and quarterback sacks. And I have not seen this from this Dallas. I have not seen that from this Dallas Cowboys defense. So there are some issues here. And from this game, the Cowboys are now 6-6. We're basically ready to hand the division over to the Philadelphia Eagles. And by a hook or by a crook, they got an early Christmas present via the Miami Dolphins. But this does not wash away the sins of the Cowboys. It does not wash away their poor play. It does not wash away, again, playing a team with a winning record and you coming up short. Now, this is where I have to get on Dak Prescott once again. Dak Prescott, again, I get sick and tired of everything has to be perfect in order to succeed. The excuse in New England was, well, it was a cold day, it was a rainy day, the elements were against them, and you have to kind of expect that. That's bull. You're an NFL quarterback. You want $30 to $40 million a year. I expect you to perform in any and all kind of weather. You're back at home, climate controlled, indoors, and you look piss poor pathetic. Now, the issues that I saw in that game was some of the same things that was rearing its ugly head last season with Dak Prescott, and I thought the late season run that they went on, again, masked some of those issues, but it's starting to rear its ugly head, or at least it did in this game. And I think as the season winds down, the games mean a little bit more. If you go into the playoff, each playoff game means a little bit more. What's concerning was Dak Prescott's lack of pocket awareness. Now, on that fumble, lack of pocket awareness, on the interception, was rushed. I can maybe excuse that was an errant throw to the defensive tackle. But there was one play in particular where Dak Prescott had escaped pressure and literally ran right into a sack. I mean, literally ran into the sack. Where is your vision? And again, these guys are on the field, and you know how I feel about athletes. They are the greatest athletes in the world. And to be at that professional level, you have to be a wonderful athlete. But that definitely was a head scratcher. You escaped pressure one way, and you literally ran into the arms. Or maybe he thought he can outrun the defensive tackle. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he thought he can outrun the defensive tackle, and the defensive tackle may just happen to make a great play. But again, you're still winless against playoff caliber teams. Again, 3 teams in the NFC, 2 teams in the AFC. That's a problem. That's for a team who has Super Bowl aspirations. These are the type of games that you are supposed to win on a consistent basis. See the Baltimore Ravens. You're supposed to win these games on a consistent basis, and you're clearly not winning those games. And that's a problem going forward. Now, what about head coach Jason Garrett? There is talk. Now, some people look at that this is the beginning of the end of the Jason Garrett era. And please go back and look at my broadcast that we did on the Jason Garrett era. Now, here's where that gets interesting with Jason Garrett is because their team on paper can have a potential of winning 4 straight games because really at this stage of the game, they control their own destiny. And all they have to do is win out, and they're in the playoffs. And now, yes, the old proverbial, all you have to do is get in, and anybody has a shot. But if you can build a win streak, now even with that win streak, it's going to be because you play the Bears, you play the Rams, you play the Redskins, and then you play the Eagles. Or the Eagles and the Redskins. So if you win 4 straight, but then you won 4 straight against who? So that's what the problem is. But 4 wins are 4 wins. A win streak is a win streak, and momentum is momentum going into the playoffs. But the Jason Garrett era could possibly be coming to an end because all reports out of Dallas says that he would have to at least make it to the Super Bowl to keep his job. I say make it to the NFC Championship game to keep his job. But then reports came out of Dallas today that Jerry Jones is not trying to replace Jason Garrett. So there's some confusion come out of there because after the New England game, you publicly excoriated your coaches, Jerry, but then now you're kind of walking those comments back. So we're trying to figure that part out, but I think the team is in serious trouble now. Again, they have the potential on paper to run the table back into the playoffs at 10-6. Host a home playoff game, whereas for right now, if the playoffs did start today, they will be playing host to the San Francisco 49ers, and that's going to be a very tough matchup. But again, things can change between now and the end of the season. So definitely another disappointing loss. And to my boys, Knock and Julio, I know you guys are Buffalo Bills fans, so I know you guys will listen to this, and you guys are going to love it. You all can go to hell. And I say that jokingly, fellas. And with the Bills playing that game, you kind of knew that the game was in trouble where I believe there was a 4th down and quarterback Josh Allen had a bad snap, recovers the snap, and then dives over and gets the first down. And you can tell he was pumped up, he was hyped up, and clearly that was a play that really changed momentum in that game. And I give the Buffalo Bills all the credit in the world. Josh Allen, the last couple of weeks I have been watching him, and that's more so because of my buddy Julio was telling me, hey, you need to watch this kid. And a couple little rough spots that he had, he's clearly improving. The kid has a rocket arm. He's very mobile, big, strong kid. So definitely the potential is there. Their defense is solid. I mean, you really don't think of all the, quote, stars that other defenses have, but they're very solid up front. Star, and I don't want to mispronounce his name, Star Latulele, and there's another defensive tackle who they drafted high in the draft, and your back end is solid. So the Buffalo Bills defense is solid. So if their offense can be somewhat comparable, they can go far. Now they have a huge game where they play the Ravens coming up, and they play the Patriots. And we'll see how they do in those games. So, we wish the Buffalo Bills the best. Don't have any ill will towards the Buffalo Bills. I wish them and their fans all the best. And I think that they do deserve to be in the playoffs. And all that the Bills can do is just continue to win all the games. Now, as for the Cowboys, again, they're going to have to get it together. There's been talks out of Dallas that people are chippy and upset and playing with a chip on the shoulder. It took you to get to week 12 where you're sitting at 6-6 and 500 with all the talent that's on that team to finally get upset. And I do like what Dak Prescott said is at this stage, if you need to be chippy at 6-6, this isn't the right locker room for you. Now, that is the dilemma with Dak Prescott. He says the right things. He does the right things. He conducts himself in the manner of a franchise quarterback. And just based on that alone, you're tempted to give him money because he will not embarrass your team and your franchise. He won't say something stupid to the media. He won't have any off-the-field issues. But the problem is I also need on-field production when the games matter. But again, last year, he beats the Saints. He beat Seattle. So beat the defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, twice last season. So, but there's something this year in playing against top defenses and top teams, he's not showing up. Against the Saints, have a great defense, you only get 10 points. You fall behind to the Green Bay Packers, who their defense wasn't really that good, but you had 2 early turnovers. The Jets game, I don't want to say throw that game away, but maybe that was just an anomaly. You go to the Patriots game, Lamar Jackson lit the Patriots up, lit them up. Deshaun Watson lit them up. Dak Prescott, you do nothing. So, and the Buffalo Bills, you really do nothing. So that's where the concern is that how good is he really? And I go back to what I said on last week's broadcast. When Dak Prescott and his agent go to sit down in Jerry's office, and again, we're pro-athlete. We are definitely pro-athlete. We hope that athletes get the money that they deserve. But just playing devil's advocate, when they go to sit down in the Star or Jerry's office or at the stadium, and they write on a piece of paper, we want this amount of money, and the money they're talking about is going to be, they said, anywhere between $35 to $40 million. You're looking at a little bit above Jared Goff's and Carson Wentz's money. When Dak Prescott goes to ask for that money, again, pop in a tape of the New England game and the Buffalo Bills game. Because again, things have to be perfect in order to be successful. And as an NFL quarterback, things are not going to always be perfect. Things are not always going to be the way it is. Now, another thing as well. This great offensive line that we got players locked up on long-term deals, and I think Lyle Collins, he was also locked up on a deal. But I know Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin are locked in long-term deals, our first-round draft picks. Lyle Collins would have been a first-round draft pick if not for an unfortunate off-the-field incident that he was exonerated on. And I've been noticing that this offensive line has been getting exposed. And again, some of the play calling, not running enough, not letting these cheese graters do their thing. But they've kind of been getting exposed recently, not being able to run the football. Certain games against top defenses, they've kind of been getting exposed a little bit. So former Cowboys tackle Mark Colombo, we kind of need to clean that stuff up. Because I'm getting a little bit concerned about the offensive line. Some of the penalties, yes, and I know they're going to say in the New England game, some of the tripping penalties, were bogus. NFL said that they were bogus, but not even about that. It's just bad penalties at the wrong time. Now Connor Williams is hurt. Again, he missed one game, came back, he got hurt, so he's out of season with an ACL. The backup, now he's going to be playing, and they always say you're a backup for a reason, but as some Cowboys fans have pointed to last year when Connor Williams lost his starting job and they put the backup in there, the team actually ran better. I don't know. It's just one of those, it can go well, it can go bad. So that's something that we're going to hope on. So moving on to this week, they're going to be playing at the Chicago Bears, which I can assume is going to be cold weather, at least cold weather, and possibly inclement weather. So again, I don't want to hear anything about the elements. I don't want to hear anything about the weather conditions. And I just read something today that the Cowboys are practicing outdoors where it's a little bit chillier outside. And to me, they should have been done that. So we'll see. This is the beginning of their run. What they say, the season is always in quarters. So this is the final quarter of the season. You win 4 straight, you win, you get in, you control your playoff destiny. So this is a time to, quote, get the season back on track, right the ship, whatever cliche you want to use. So we'll see these guys playing the Chicago Bears on Thursday night. So this is Chin Check Radio sign off, and until the next time.